Is it filming? Right, we've made it into London. Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Pete is behind the camera. As you can see over here is the Whisky show. If you want to turn it, you can zoom, Pete. No, you can turn the lens. Turn the lens. Zoom in. There you go. You can tell this is his first time.
Hey, it's not my camera, it's not my setup.
Zoom back out. Zoom out like this. This is dynamic content. This is what the people are wanting. Right, we're going to get down. We're already late. But we had our breakfast. And we're going to go and get into it. Right, let's go.
It's very...
Good evening. It is the Friday before I go to the Whisky show tomorrow. The Whisky show's happened right now. It's just finished the evening, the Friday day. I'm just prepping. I've done a lot of prep work this year. I'm trying to like be on the ball. Just getting the camera together. I've been getting drams together. Like I think you would have seen a little clip of me printing the labels, and the labels ready. I've got my map ready. I've got a map ready. This year I'm coming prepared. I'm coming with a mindset of what I want to see, who I want to talk to, what I want to try, best laid plans and all that jazz. But let me show you the map. Right, I printed out the map and I've kind of marked out key ones where they're dotted about so I can find it. Now we come in here, right? This is the list. The X's are the ones that I want to make sure I get to. The others, it's not that I don't want to get to them, it's just that you've got to kind of balance it out. It all goes Pete Tong halfway through anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But we come in here, right? We get our glass, we show our ticket, we get our glass, we get our wristband here. Now, Dream Dram tokens first, or straight to the good stuff. So I think my plan is to go around a few of the guys down here, starting with Adelphi, then maybe hit up Sponge, Whisky Sponge, Decadent drinks at the back, Can Do guys, Glen Adelphi, Ben Romack, Thompson. Kind of hit this area first, get my interviews with those guys, then go up the stairs here, boom, to the flavour zone it's called, here, but everything here, there's a ton of them, right, there's quite a lot. So 122 here, 128 woven, I speak to those guys, like there's tons. So I want to get around all those. I want to do at least 8 chats, at least 8 for a video, minimal. Like I've got questions prepped, we're all good, and then the fun begins, and I can go and really indulge and enjoy myself. Not that I won't be enjoying myself all throughout that, but this year I'm trying, because last year, if you watched last year's video, I left it to the end. I waited for the Dutch courage to kick in, and I couldn't. It wasn't as polished as I want. Now I'm still going to video throughout the rest of the show, so you're still going to get all those elements. But I want to make sure I get the value out of speaking to the guys and using the channel to kind of amplify what people are thinking and saying. So that's tonight. I need to charge up the bad boy, get my camera bag packed. I've got my drams packed for people. I've got my outfit planned, especially, excuse me, special wardrobe. So last year I made the 3500 UK, 3500 Rest of the World hat. I had it on socks. I had the mug done. This year I've went a bit different, and you'll see in the morning. Oh, I've prepped breakfast. I actually made a proper Scottish breakfast before I have to go and get my mate Pete, because of the train strike. Up early, I'm driving to pick him up, coming back here, then we're off to the O2, then we're getting a tube from the O2 to London Bridge to the Whisky show. So it's busy old time, but excited. This is a precursor. In terms of drams that I want to have, there's literally so many, so I'm going to go through as a video, a preview after this. I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a preview of like who I want to see, and then we'll see how we go on. Alright, cheers guys.
It was so early when I got up that I had to move to voiceover for this part. I made myself fresh rolls and square sausage from scratch to set up the day. We got to the Whisky show a little bit later than expected due to the train strikes. Poor girl in front of us here with the headphones, she thought she was joining a Roman tour and stood in the queue and then only realised, oh, this is a Whisky show. Oops. But the queue moved pretty quick. It's good fun, chatting away to people in the queue. We get in, it's the usual madness on the floor, kind of, but decided let's just kick off with some interviews while I was still fairly sober.
So it's a bit rather like, hello, welcome. Right, you recording now? We're recording? Oh, you've been going? Oh, great, right.
Nick and Ian for the masses.
Right, so we're at Ardnamurchan at Adelphi stand with Graham. So I've kind of took the first question from you. Who are you and what do you do?
So I'll just say that back to you. Who are you, mate? What are you doing?
Oh.
I'm joking. So yeah, I'm Graham. We've known each other for a little while now in the whisky world. And yeah, I'm Graham. I'm in the Ardnamurchan team and the Adelphi team. It's the same thing to a degree. I'm in the sales team, but more importantly, probably for today, I'm in the blending team as well. So
Fantastic.
yeah, we are a very small team. 2/3 of the sales team for the world are standing here just now. And yeah, the blending team is 5 of us. We look after about 10 or 12 countries each as well, export-wise. So yeah, small company, but very diverse roles. And that's part of the
very
joy.
busy.
Oh yeah,
Very busy. The stand is absolutely packed.
Yeah, we certainly don't leave much back in the warehouse for this, you know.
Nothing at all.
We bring everything to this
Everything.
show.
Well, we'll move on that. On the stand, you've got a load. What's your favourite? What's your personal favourite?
Honestly, do you know what's quite a cool little hidden dram here? Is I've got a Dalyuen over here. If I can find it. So this is pretty special. Dalyuen is a distillery I like very much on its own. You're probably, hopefully, a fan of it as well. It's Diageo. It's underrated. I think it could be a good sister to the likes of Mortlach and Ben Rinnes, and it's quite weighty, quite chunky.
Quite meaty.
But this is quite a cool little secret because at some point in the past, Clynelish was actually closed for maintenance for a little while. And Diageo, while that was closed, basically tried to replicate the Clynelish recipe at Dalyuen. So we buy these casks, and they're actually called waxy Dalyuen when we get them.
So it's very similar to Clynelish in profile.
In terms of, yeah, it's like texturally it's been boosted a little bit. So it's a nice little hidden dram on the table. We've got the Springbanks, we've got the 30-year-old Speysides, I've got a 40-year-old Milton Duff with me. There's some big, headline grabbers. You could probably overlook this one, but it's quite a cool little secret for those in the know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, say we've got somebody that's got a pal or a loved one I hate whiskey.
Yeah.
Their experience with whiskey's maybe been a neat high commissioner at a party or something like that. Right? And it doesn't need to be your own, it can be anything. Mm-hmm. What's your gateway dram to get
well,
people in?
I have to be on brand, right? And I know you've tried it.
Yeah.
The Maclean's Nose is literally designed with that in mind, So this is a blended whiskey that we launched earlier this year. There is a certain amount of it that is from a Western Highlands distillery. It's not very hard to guess which one. But we designed this as, it's got the single malt drinker in mind. But 30 quid a bottle, 46% ABV, no colouring, no filtering, all the good stuff you would associate with Ardnamurchan and Adelphi, but easier to approach, and yeah, really just an affordable dram. So I really would be surprised if I pour this for anyone this weekend and they come and say, I really don't like that, It's easy going, but it's not boring,
For me,
right?
weirdly, where I was trying to upsell it to my uncle.
Right,
My uncle's favourite dram is Black Label.
Aye, okay, yeah.
And I said it's like Black Label's Big Brother.
Cool, I like that.
That was the way I was like, it's in the same wheelhouse.
Yeah.
A wee bit more expensive than what you're used to.
Sure, yeah.
Because normally his go-to is Queen Margot for
Aye, okay.
Lidl. He treats
okay.
himself to Black Label, so I'm going to get my bottle for Christmas.
Nice, yeah.
See what you think.
I'd love to hear some feedback on it for sure.
What's been again, you have been really busy. What's been exciting for you in 2023?
You know what? It's just continuing to beef out the range. You know, it's not very often you get to join a company and launch a new distillery to the world. So I've been on the journey since we launched, and really, it feels to a degree like we've been around for a long time now. But you've got to remember, this is only 3 years since we launched, right? Yeah. The distillery is only 9 years old now. So we're actually just getting started, which is really exciting. It's like the oldest stuff I've got, I've got a single cask sample here from our first year, 9 years now. And it's really exciting to think, what will it taste like in 12, 15, 21-year-olds? And we don't know. That's kind of part of the fun as well, right?
Yeah, amazing. And then, doesn't need to be about you guys, 2024, what could be better? Great year this year, but what could be better in whiskey?
I hope that people are going to keep focusing on, a lot of people are starting to talk about, is it going to be the year of the blends and the year of the affordable malts, We all know prices have been rising, and there's good reasons for that. The supply chain is creaking with every little bit is more expensive as a producer than ever before. But it would be nice to see more people focusing on making bottles that are designed to be opened and drunk, There's still that luxury market out there, but I think whiskey focus and transparency as well will hopefully become a more shared interest in the industry,
Perfect. And then last question, again, doesn't need to be on the stand. You're at home, long weekend, you've cooked your grub. What's your hidden gem of a dram? What's the one that you maybe go into a shop, pick up, that others might walk by?
I was talking about this yesterday. I think Tomatin, I'm an Inverness lad myself, Tomatin, for some reason, I don't think it's got the respect it deserves from the whiskey geek community, right? It's a big distillery, it's well established, but they do great nerdy whiskies. Generally they don't add colouring, they don't filter, they're pretty transparent about what goes into it, and they use a lot of fun casks, I really like the redesign on the Kubokin, for example, as well. So I think they deserve a bit more attention from whiskey nerds,
Oh, perfect. Get out there, get online, get them.
Yeah, go and try Tomatin. They're here today.
That Kubokin 15.
Yeah.
I never had the first one, but people were.
Yeah, well, they're launching a new one here this weekend too. So I think it's going to become their yearly dram that they launch here, which is quite cool, Yeah.
Oh, wait, thanks a lot for that.
See you, David. Yeah.
Cheers, good to see you.
All right, thanks for your time.
Right,
cheers, guys.
I'm working. We're going to move on to the next one. Right, let's see where we end up.
Nice one.
Right, we're here at the Lochlea stand. We'll take it away. So, who are you and what do you do?
My name is John Campbell and I'm the production director at Lochlea.
How long have you been there from?
Just over 2 years now. So, came from Lefroy before that. So, just kind of pulled in when we were starting to get whiskies ready because I've got all that experience under my belt.
Now you're the one tasked with getting it out there.
Yeah.
Picking it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. On the stand, you've got 6 bottles here. What would you say is your favourite dram on the stand, personally?
Probably cask strength, because I think the stage Lochlea's at right now, the cask strength, it shows itself best at cask strength. So, there's nothing wrong with the other whiskies, but there's just an elevation and the depth of flavour at cask strength.
There's definitely a kind of meaty is the wrong word. It's the robustness of the liquid.
More viscosity.
Body. Yeah, definitely.
Yep, that's true.
It's really nice. We just had a taste. Very chewy, very beautiful dram. 2023, what's been great? What have you really enjoyed?
Because we've just started releasing whiskies from June last year, just getting out and into the market again. I used to when I was at Lefroy, I really liked that. So there's nothing better than a consumer on the other side of the table giving you feedback. So I'm really enjoying getting all the feedback on how if they like us, if they don't like us, what do we do? Like, all of that.
And has it been quite robust feedback? Has people been really into it? Has there been anything?
No. Like, and especially when they find out we're just a farm distillery, so it's all grown in the heart of Ayrshire. That's it. That's all we do. Like, we produce the barley on the farm, we store it on the farm, we'll process it all on the farm, we'll mature it all on the farm, we'll send it away to be bottled, and then we'll distribute it from the farm too. So there's 15 in the team. It's a small kind of operation with all Swiss Army knives. So yeah, no, it's
it must be exciting when you see it there on the shelf and stuff as well.
And that's the thing. We're kind of try to make it stand out with a nice bright colour.
The bottles are great. My wife, it's always an acid test when I get bottles in the house, and she goes, "Oh, that's nice," and I'm like, "Right, I can keep that one then." In terms of 2024, what do you think could be better? What could whiskey do better?
What could whiskey do better? It could maybe speed up the evolution of kind of what we're doing. So like, we are moving to much more consumer based and reacting to consumers. So if we speed that up, we'll be fine, because it's the whole spirits landscape is very, very competitive, and a lot of these bigger companies are trying to fight back against the success of whiskey, I guess. We've seen it with gin recently and stuff like that, so we just need to keep taking nothing for granted, but move faster.
Move faster.
Yep.
Someone comes to the table, I hate whiskey. They've been served a High Commissioner at a party once and they've went, "I'm done, I'm out." Nothing wrong with High Commissioner, but time and a place. What would you recommend as a gateway? How would you get someone saying, "How about we try that?"
Yeah, no, because it's all about, we've all been burned by things in our past, and I'm the same. So it's all about the education part, and that's why shows like this are really, really good, because you can teach people and why it tastes that way, and it's supposed to be like that, and this is all so they can build up the kind of tolerance, I guess, again. So because you've just got to build the trust and then the tolerance, really.
Anything in particular you would give them?
I'll go Out Barley.
Out Barley.
It's a really good kind of gateway whiskey for envy. Yeah.
And then lastly, you're sitting at home at night. Obviously, you're extra Freud in that as well. I'm sure you've got an extensive dram selection. So if you're walking into a whiskey shop, what's a wee hidden gem bottle that you like to pick up every now and again that maybe doesn't get the credit that it deserves or the recognition? Doesn't need to be your favourite.
No, but I'm thinking like what one doesn't get recognition, and it's really, really good. I don't see that like not getting recognition, but so where am I going to go? Probably like maybe like I think maybe Lagavulin, like it's a big brand, but like I don't think people understand like how good the 16-year-old is. So like I like that every now and again, because like I'm not a huge sherry guy, but I just like one of them every now and again, and I just think it's the 16 is just a kind of legendary whiskey that maybe gets distracted from by other factors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Brilliant, John. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.
You too.
Right, guys, on to the next one. We're at the next stand, so let's kick it off. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Peter Adams. I'm a distiller at Holyrood Distillery, which is in Edinburgh. We are a very new distillery. Actually, as of recording, we are about to do our first release of whiskey, which is unbelievably exciting. And until that time, what we've been doing here is new mix, aged new mix, so matured but not quite enough to be whiskey yet, to showcase all of the weird, wonderful, strange things we've been doing in our distillery. Mainly it's to do with brewers' sentimentality. We are making whiskey from specialty yeasts, heritage malts, specialty malts as well, so stuff that's incredibly roasted. We're basically taking a brewer's mindset to making whiskey, and with that comes, well, literally hundreds of different recipes. So
you must have a very forgiving bank account, by the way, because if you're experimenting all the time, do you find there's pressure to like, from a more corporate head, of like just pick one and get it made and reduce the bottom line, or have you got that? Seems like you've got that flexibility to just be brewers and kind of make mistakes and happy mistakes.
Oh, I mean, it is built into our plan. We are never going to compete with, like, we're a very small fish in a very big pond. We're not going to be producing like, you know, 1 million LPA a year. We're here to create quite a modest amount of spirit, but very, very high quality, strange and experimental. So, you know, we could be making, you know, 450, 500 litres of pure alcohol every time we produce, but we're sacrificing, you know, maybe 50, maybe even 100 LPA every time we change the yeast, or, you know, do up specialty malts, or, you know, use a heritage malt that people don't tend to use anymore. You know, the way whiskey is made now is, you know, for the better, but it is, what would the word be? It's designed to give you as much spirit as possible, and we are not designing our products to give us as much spirit as possible. Quite the reverse. We're designing our products to give us as interesting and as specific flavors as possible, with the effect of losing out on potential spirit. So yeah, it costs money to do that, both in spending more money on the raw products and sacrificing potential yield that we could make. But I know it sounds scary, and it is scary, but like that's what
it must be exciting for you.
Absolutely. I mean, can you tell? Like,
yeah, exactly. Well, I think I'm going to know the answer here. What's exciting in 2023?
Exciting in 2023 is that we have whiskey. We started producing in 2019 in September, and we are about to do our launch, and we have plenty of it here.
Which we have a wee bit in the glass here.
Holyrood arrival.
It's exciting stuff, and will that be in shelves on the 6th? Will that be out and about?
That'll be out and about. It'll be on shelves.
No pressure on future me to edit this and get it out.
Yeah, you better get it out there.
I'll get it out. Get it out there. In terms of 2024, the question I'm asking people is like, broadly, not for Holyrood, but broadly in the community, whiskey community, what could be better? What could we do better?
Well, I mean, it's still Holyrood. Broadly speaking, we should have more whiskey. It'd be nice to have more whiskey. Really, really broadly, I think one thing that's really important to us is transparency. We are incredibly transparent about what we're doing. You know, when it comes to like these are aged new make bottles. We've got, you know, what malts we put on, what yeasts we put on, fermentation times, cut points in the still. We really, you know, we think we have an audience who cares about this kind of stuff, and we care about this kind of stuff. We want people to know as much about us as possible. And I don't know, being transparent about what whiskey terminology means, being transparent about process, both because I think people care, but also because I think I think it's just good policy to be honest about how this stuff is being made. That's something it's very important to me. I think it's very important to Holyrood.
No, it's good, and you are seeing more distillers like Arden Working. I know they have the QR code. You can look at what's going on. More and more of them are putting
a little QR code. Yeah, a little QR. Not live yet, but as of 6th of October it will be.
Fantastic. Question I've asked people is, we've all got the friends or the family members or the partners that go, I don't like whiskey. Mm-hmm. They've had a bad dram of Bell's or High Commissioner at a party, and they think that's it, that's all whiskey is. Any whiskey, or it could be your own, obviously it's different because you've got all these new makes. What's a gateway whiskey that you could give to someone and say, here, have a wee dram of that?
You're right, we do have a uniquely difficult job here, being a young distillery and having, you know, aged new makes or new makes. But that's a harder proposition than whiskey, because this stuff is, well, I think it's really tasty, but it is also unmatured, so it's a little bit, you know, sharper than most palates are ready for. But with this aged new make stuff, I obviously think this is incredible. This is I'm really happy with this as a first release, and I think if you can get a bottle of this, I think it will sort of turn some heads. I think it will appeal to the geeks in all of us, but it will also appeal to it's got a broad appeal. The notion behind this is that it is a tasty, easy drinking, good whiskey. We don't want to reinvent the wheel with our first release. We want something that people can trust us to make whiskey with. So I'm going to say Arrival. I think it's a gateway whiskey.
That's your gateway. Brilliant. And then last one, personally, your hidden gem dram. So we see drams all the time. You guys will get the headlines next week when you launch. Mm-hmm. There's always something new, there's always something flash, there's always like a new Mental Macallan release or something going on. But that hidden gem that you go to and you're like, I'm just going to pick up a wee bottle of that, there might be a wee bit of dust on it, and you're like, come home with me, you sit and you pour, what would you have?
What would I have?
Yeah, the wee hidden gem of a
A wee
dram.
hidden gem.
Like your mum would get you it for Christmas because you're like, get me that.
Give me that. Holyrood wise?
Holyrood, you could do Holyrood and also something out with Holyrood.
Well, if we're going to talk about Holyrood, it's a hard sell for most people to drink New Mec Spirit, but we make really, really class New Mec Spirit. And this is always, if we're talking about a Christmas gift, this is the one that I always go for because so this is a chocolate malt New Mec Spirit. It's basically like if you made a very sort of chocolatey stout and then distilled it into NMS. I think it's really, really delicious. But it's also like a good sort of base for certain things. Like you make an espresso martini with this, or you make a what would it be like? I put this in hot chocolate. Something we started serving in the distillery recently. This is not an obvious thing for people to pick up and drink, but I think it's absolutely. I'm biased, but this is splendid. This is really nice.
And then non-Holyrood?
Non-Holyrood? What would I even say to that? Non-Holyroods? I mean, like, you'll know yourself, I've tried quite a few drams at this event so far. I'm always partial to a Bunnahabhain, I'm always partial to a bit of sherry.
Yeah. Bunnahabhain's a good example. It just kind of floats under, just sails past, like, it's just nondescript, not nondescript, but non-flashy. There it is.
I think if you're into whiskey, it's one of those ones you go, oh, excellent. But it's an easy one. When I used to work in like just sort of selling whiskey, it was an easy one to go, oh, if you haven't tried that, maybe try this. So yeah, there's an uncountable number of whiskey here that I would put into that category, to be honest.
Brilliant. Well, Peter, thanks a lot, and good luck next week. Sure it'll go really well. The dram's delicious, and we'll move on to the next one.
Big shout out to Thompson Whisky from New Zealand. It was an absolute gem. Sadly, we didn't get time to interview him. He was constantly busy, but definitely pick some up.
Right, we're at the next stand. We're upstairs, it's really busy, so we're going to kick it off. Who are you and what do you do?
So I'm Pete, I'm one of the founders of Woven and the whiskey maker.
Fantastic. Show's really busy today.
Yeah.
Somebody comes to you, they've never had whiskey before, or they've had a bad dram, i.e. something from the back of the cupboard at a party, they don't like whiskey. What are you giving them?
From my collection?
Can be from yours.
From anywhere.
Can be anywhere. What's a gateway? How do you get someone into whiskey?
I think I definitely get them into a blend first of all. I think that we're in the heart of whiskey geekery right here. But what you want to do is you want to be looking at the blends that are a little bit softer, a little bit easier to drink. So if you're at home or at a party, the easiest whiskey to find is a Johnnie Walker Black Label. Super balanced, absolutely beautiful. But if you're looking at something a bit more smaller, a bit more interesting, definitely Woven is probably where you're at. So from our collection, maybe homemade, sherried, bright, balanced. That's it right there.
Perfect. Look at Graham, he's stalking us. We've just interviewed him and he's right behind us. He's not really. Brilliant. So in terms of that, like on the stand, they're all your babies, right?
Yep.
They're all your babies. You're
about to ask something horrible.
You're the delegate. You've got to choose your favourite on the stand.
Right.
Of the moment, not the best, not the the moment. What's your one?
Okay. This is Synchronicity. It's just coming out today. It's a really it's a very, very intricate and complex blend, but at its core is a heavily peated Islay single malt that's been in a Rioja cask. So you've got a jammy fruit marmalade sort of thing coming through from the red wine. We've also got a very maritime harbour peat coming in as well, and it's just for me it's that perfect balance of dry smoke, juicy fruit.
Perfect. And what's the reaction been to it?
It's been really good actually. I think that what's great about Woven, and I need to call you one. I think what's great about Woven and being up here is that we have 6 different whiskies for people. So if somebody isn't into a smoky, complex, rich whiskey, they're able to try something a bit lighter, brighter, like Shindig, which is all about sort of the citrus and vanilla notes coming through.
Fantastic. 2023, we're almost at the tail end. We're coming in October. What's been good? What's been exciting in 2023?
I think that there's been an abundance of innovation coming out of not just Scotland but also around the world. You know, every whiskey drinking country now makes incredible whiskey. So I think Milk and Honey winning best single malt in the world this year was incredible. Israeli whiskey, you know, who'd have thunk it? They're killing it. We've got Aberfalls from Wales, we've got Wireworks from England. Right around us, we've got an abundance of really cool whiskies from around the world. And I think that it's a cog that's turning, and it's going to speed up and speed up and speed up, and soon world whiskies are going to be as revered as Scotch.
Without a doubt. And by world, outside of Japan, because Japan's kind of almost ring-fenced itself as an outlier. Something a wee bit different. No serious, but 2024 whiskey in general, what could be better than whiskey in 2024?
I think, not to take a tone of seriousness too far, but I think that we really need to fucking move on and be inclusive. Yeah. Like, you look around and unfortunately it is still 80% white middle-aged men like us.
Oh no, middle-aged, aye, probably.
How's your 40th?
East End of Glasgow. I'm probably past middle age. I'm in that tail end.
But I think that it is turning. Again, it's that cog, and it's getting better and better. But it needs to not be a thing that we're talking about. It needs to be something that's just ingrained.
I think there are efforts to do more. For me, my personal viewpoint is it's cost, it's barrier of entry, which I think wine had in the 80s, early 90s, where you had wine, you had Blue Nun and whatever. Then all of a sudden there was these French wines that were really expensive, whereas now people go to a supermarket and are happily dropping 15, 20 quid in a bottle of wine. That took time to develop, whereas whiskey, when you get that supermarket shelf, standard 12-year-olds are 40 quid now, and people don't take the chance. So how do you think we kind of develop that inclusivity so that when people see this, they think it's not for me, but gateway, get them in?
I don't think it's price-led.
You don't think it's price-led?
I don't think it's price-led. I think it needs to be flavour-led.
Right.
Well, it needs to be flavour-led, and also we're an intimidating bunch. Like it or not, you and I standing here geeking out about fermentation rates and whatever else is like a massive turn off to somebody coming into it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And so we need to reach out, and it is work like you know, doing stuff online that's changing that perception from intimidation to inclusivity. And I think that we just need to all work harder, you know?
No, absolutely, I agree. And then on a more positive note to finish, you finish a hard day in the lab, studio, you go home, you're passing by a wee whiskey shop, you think, I'm going to pick myself up a wee bottle or something. Hidden gem, something that's got a wee bit of dust or something that's overlooked, something that's maybe not in vogue. What's your go-to? And the weird thing is, it's a hard question to answer because if it's your hidden gem, then it's in your mind. But more in general populace, or even whiskey community, what are we overlooking?
Do you know what I'm really loving right now? Like, genuinely, I think it's one of the best whiskies. Is some of the single grains and single malts coming from Loch Lomond.
Yep.
I think when you see a Loch Lomond on a shelf, they've released that because it's fucking great. They don't need to. Their business isn't releasing whiskies under Loch Lomond.
I didn't pour any. I only opened it last night after I'd done my wee samples, but you had the extra long fermentation Loch Lomond. It's available on site.
I might have, I don't know.
It only came out. It's I'll send you a dram or two of it. I went to pour it. I sat with the baby last night. She wasn't having a good night, so I woke up this morning. There was that left, and I put my nose to it. and it was just tropical and unbelievable. And I think it's finally great that they are starting to tip though. I feel like they're getting the recognition.
Of course, but for me, like, if I had a couple of quid, I'd like to start buying some
more Lochlea.
Yeah, specifically Lochlea, not like Glen Scotia. We know that's last year's cool thing.
Yeah.
Next year it's Lochlea, I think.
Fantastic.
I'm
Okay.
moving.
Thanks a lot. Always a pleasure. Cheers.
I appreciate it.
Right, we're at the next stand, we're at Decadent Drinks. Take it away. Who are you and what do you do?
Okay, so Decadent Drinks, we're an independent bottler. So our whiskies have been on the go since 2020. And our flagship brand is Whisky Sponge, aka Angus. The Whisky Sponge, he was named a Whisky Sponge at a wine festival one time. And this is where this all started. So he started hobby bottling and then went on to start to bottle a bit more seriously and got more people involved. So Whisky Sponge was where it started. Then we had Equinox and Solstice introduced as a range, and then the notable age statements. So independently bottled whiskey, lots of different distilleries, lots of different interesting
And what's your
things.
name?
My name's Julie.
And
I'm
Julie.
Julie.
And Julie.
Yes.
On that note, Gateway, and as stereotypical it is, you're a woman in whiskey, you get all the stereotypes, people saying stuff, whatever.
Do you really like it?
Do you like it? Blah, 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 all that. My wife doesn't like it, right? My
Right,
wife tries,
okay.
she doesn't like the alcohol smell, whatever. However, I'm still convinced
Okay, that you will find
one day, because there's always
there's a
something
whiskey for everyone. Yes.
Someone comes to
absolutely.
you, they've been at a house party once and they had a high commissioner and they were like, I hate whiskey.
That's
right,
it.
That's it.
A Lafroy 10.
What's your gateway at the moment? What's your gateway dram? What do you get them hooked on?
Okay, so the thing that I would introduce people to this range that I have on the table, I would introduce them to the Equinox and Solstice Balblier 15-year-old. It's light, bright, fruity, 48.5% ABV, so it's a nice drinking strength and just an all-round delicious little dram. Yeah,
Nice to get.
absolutely.
And then not on here, they're going into a supermarket. Is there anything in a supermarket you say, start there?
Genuinely, in a supermarket, I would start with Glenfiddich 15.
Glenfiddich 15, great choice.
I think
Great choice.
pound for pound, that's a great supermarket dram.
2023,
Yeah.
what's been great? What's excited you in whiskey, on Whisky Sponge? What's been great in 2023?
So all the new distilleries and new releases that have been coming, I think independent bottling is just at a high. There's so many introducing to the market, there's so much variety. It's an amazing time to be drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
There's so many new whiskies coming through. Whiskey that years ago drinking 5-6-year-old whiskey would just have been so different to how it is now. So I think I think there's been a real positive, yeah.
And of those on the thing, what's your favourite that you've got in front of
So
you today?
today, my
Your favourite.
favourite
Of the day,
stand.
not your
My-
favourite, but like
Today, in my
Today,
lineup,
yeah.
my favourite is the Bowmore 18.
Bowmore 18.
So this is a single cask of Bowmore. It was from 2003. It is 55.3% ABV, and it is just a glorious example of Bowmore. It's lovely and fruity. There's tropical notes to it. There's smoke there. It's just delightful. Would you like to try some?
I thought you were never going to ask.
There you
That'd be
go.
amazing, thank you. While I'm nosing this, 2024 is a whiskey community. What could be better? What could whiskey do better in 2024? It can be anything. It can be from whatever you think.
I think probably prices. The prices are always high, and I think sometimes, I don't know. That's a difficult one. I think that introducing people to whiskey and introducing them to better quality and better standards of whiskey, which you're getting coming through with new distilleries, new bottlings, different things happening. I think people learning that it's not all equal. So it's not a very good answer, I'm sorry.
No, I agree. I'd say to someone else on camera, I think barrier of entry is price point.
Yeah.
And I think we want to bring new people. You need to keep filling the funnel from the top.
That's it.
And how do you bring them in if everything keeps going up?
Yeah.
And that's not on the whiskey community. There's a lot of factors in that.
I think there's an element of it that's understanding why price points are where they are. So when you're buying an independently bottled whiskey, then it's going to be, it's coming from somewhere else, so it's understanding the quality. And if you find a bottler that you like their palate and you like the style of whiskey that they bottle, that's definitely one to follow. So yeah.
Don't drink anything straightforward.
So it's
And then last question, your hidden gem.
My hidden gem, I have to say, is there is an Indian whiskey that's down at the other end of the show, and it's called Indri. So I first tasted their standard bottling in a blind tasting when I was on YouTube.
Yep.
And it was just fantastic. I loved it and sought it out, and I bought 2 bottles. I bought one to share with everyone and one to have for myself. And today they've got their new cask strength with them.
Have you tried it yet?
And a friend of mine went and got me a dram of it, and it is really good. It's beautifully fruity and bright.
We'll get over there soon.
You definitely have to go and try it. So that's my hidden gem of the show.
Thanks a lot, Julie.
Really
that
nice
was great.
to meet you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I think you can see what it is. So let's take it away. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Chris Fletcher. I'm the master distillery, Jack Daniel Distillery in Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Fantastic. Jack Daniels at the Whisky Show. Now, people will come in with preconceptions of Jack Daniels. Number 7, like, we're all, let's be honest about it. However, I've just tried the triple mash, which is fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely great. People will come, I'm sure you've encountered it, we all encountered it, and they say, I don't like whiskey, I don't like bourbon, that's not for me.
Yeah.
And yet there's always that little niggle of like, hang on, give me a shot. What would you choose, and what would be your gateway into whiskey for someone that would come to you like that?
Yeah, well, our Gentleman Jack whiskey is very approachable, very light, it's very easy mixing. Even in the hot summer, you can mix it just with some club soda, squeeze a lime, really refreshing, which is a different take, I think, in a lot of whiskey drinks. So the Gentleman Jack is certainly a really good one to start with, and even old number 7, very mixable, right? Jack and Coke.
Jack and Coke.
Right, everybody loves that.
Yep.
So, that's a great way to start as well. And then as people start, maybe mixing that ratio a little differently, a little more whiskey character, it might lead them into our bottle and bond and single barrels, and we want to have a whiskey for everybody, that's for sure.
So from a UK point of view, we don't have the term bottled and bond here.
Yeah.
So can you explain what's bottled and bond?
Yeah, so it's really the most regulated form of American whiskey, and I'd argue maybe the most regulated form of whiskey in the world, because it starts as straight American whiskey, right? So straight Tennessee whiskey, as you see here, which is like our bourbon whiskey, at least 51% corn. This is 80% corn, always aged in a brand new charred oak barrel. A lot of regulations around that. It's just being a straight Tennessee whiskey. And then on top of that, bottle and bond means you have to disclose exactly where the whiskey is made, a single distiller. Of course, all of our whiskey is made in Lynchburg, Tennessee, but a lot of brands now are sourcing multiple whiskeys from all over the country back in the U.S. So there's a lot of kind of unknown of where the whiskey is originating. And then bottle and bond whiskeys also have to be bottled at 50% ABV. That's a requirement. It cannot be 49. It cannot be 51%. It has to be exactly 50%.
Why is that 100 proof? Is it just...
They passed that in 1897, so I was not around to ask why. So that is one of the requirements. The other thing is a single distilling season. There's 2 seasons every year in the U.S., spring and fall. Spring is January through June, fall is July through the end of the year. So you can't blend across ages, right? It's all one age of the whiskey. This one right here, our Tennessee whiskey, is about 5 to 5.5. This one is more like a 6-year-old with the triple mash, which is a blend of not only the Tennessee whiskey, but it also has our rye whiskey and our single malt whiskey in there as well, all blended together.
Got you. Now this is exciting. This is new to market over here, I believe. I've not seen it before. I've seen it in a couple of shops recently.
Yeah.
2023, what's been exciting for you? Has it been this? Has it been travel? Is it?
This bottle and bond absolutely has, because we're able to bring something new to the world, right? Because it is only U.S. regulation, like you said earlier. So it's exciting for people to learn about bottle and bond American whiskeys and the standards that are behind that. It's very restrictive, and kind of the purity of the process of making American whiskey. So it's a really exciting opportunity. And last year, this one won Best Whiskey in the World through Whiskey Advocate, so we were very excited to receive that accolade. And this is our classic Tennessee whiskey recipe, the same recipe that goes in the old number 7. It's still winning awards 150 plus years later.
And then on a little bit more serious note, 2024 is coming up. We're already approaching October. What could the whiskey community, whiskey world do a little bit better next year?
I think events like this, that's the fun part. We have events across the U.S. that, very U.S. whiskey focused, coming over here to London. A lot of great malt whiskeys and traditional Scottish style whiskeys. It's really fun to connect with people that are making whiskey around the world. So I say more sharing of whiskey, more socializing around whiskey. That's what these products do. They bring people together, regardless of the style or the type of whiskey. This is about having fun and enjoying our whiskey. So that's what I like to do.
In terms of yourself, you finish your day, you go home, you swing by liquor store, you're like, I'm going to pick up a bottle. It might not be the flashiest, it might not be the most in vogue. What's a hidden gem, whiskey, bourbon, malt that you love?
Yeah, I think really our single barrel rye whiskey, which is something that a lot of people back home in Lynchburg tend to pick up, and you don't see it a lot outside the U.S. So I think our single barrel rye and single barrel whiskeys, the flavor does vary from barrel to barrel a little bit. So maybe you might find one that you love, and the next one might not be the same. But I think our single barrel rye whiskey is a total hidden gem at Jack Daniel's.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, Chris, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. On to the next one. Right, we're back at it. We're here with the Thompson brothers. Oh, spoiler. Take the questions away. Who are you and what do you do?
I am Philip Thompson from Dornoch Distillery, Thompson Brothers, and we're here on our very expensive Thompson Brothers stand at the Whisky Show along with the other Thompson, Simon.
You want to pan right? Both brothers in shot. It's great to be here, great to see you. Drinking a fantastic unnamed bourbon, Thompson Brothers single bottling. Say I bring somebody that doesn't like whiskey and they go to me, right, oh no, I don't like whiskey, how would you, what's your gateway dram? It doesn't need to be on your desk, it can be anything that you go, look, here, hang on a minute, have a wee shot of this that would change their perception.
Well, as a shot, first of all, I start with something like a really nice clean highball, just to get somebody into the kind of the style of whiskey but without the intensity of the alcohol. I think that's the best way to get somebody kind of involved in whiskey. Something like I drink at home, controversial, Springbank 10 highball. Whenever I see a Springbank 10 I have to buy it for highball purposes at home. It sounds absurd, but I love it. So that would be my kind of gateway. If not, I think gateway drams, for me, I really love standard Bowmore 12. I think although it's a little bit at the 40% I don't particularly like, but it's like the character's amazing. It's fruity, it's tropical, it's juicy. That's kind of very good entry level whiskey for people.
Fantastic, yeah. See, a highball, the one I got into, and I thought, I was in Milroy's in London, and I remember a staff suggested to a family that was beside me the Carpathian Romanian whiskey as an entry point, and I was like, oh, Orchid House Compass Box as a highball. I was like, happily do that, but I'm so on board with you with that.
I think highballs for me work best without aggressive wood. So like something that's refill bourbon or first fill bourbon works really well, but you start bringing sherry or wine casks into it, or like weird European wood, it can be a bit out of balance, and you end up just tasting wood as opposed to.
Well, they were going to have it neat, and I was like, no, let's not do that.
Yeah.
On the table,
Yeah.
you've got a great range. You've got your own offerings here. You've got the what one was that? The Glenrothes. You've got the single cask. What's your favourite of the day?
My favourite from our table, obviously, is our Dornick. Has to be the Dornick. This guy here. The Sutherland blended malt as well. So this is a mix of about 80-20 Dornick and Clynelish. So 8-year-old Clynelish, 5-year-old Dornick, vatted, slowly diluted over the course of a couple of weeks. That for me is probably one of the best ones to have if you're like just wanting to get into Dornick. Because Dornick's quite a kind of weighty, funky, waxy spirit. So that would be my kind of gateway to follow on with our own stuff.
Fantastic. 2023, 2023. Busy year for you guys. I know, I enter the ballots, I see the bottles, I see the churn. I can only imagine the amount of stock in your small space. But what's been great? What's been great about 2023?
So it's been a challenging year. We've been so busy, and obviously trying to sort out planning permission in the new distillery. So we got planning permission 2 weeks ago. So
congratulations.
Hi. So that's been the best part of it so far. But it's challenging, you know. It's trying to do the finance and get over the line with that. It's been difficult. Getting over the line with planning was difficult. But it's all coming together now. That's the main thing. It's been a great year, but I think it's been, you know, I'm ready for a bit of a break, to be honest. It's been pretty challenging.
Off topic, at this time of year, to me personally, this feels like whiskey season. We're coming into autumnal, it gets a little bit cooler, it gets a little bit more layered. Do you guys chill out a wee bit at this point?
No,
or does it ramp up again?
So we've never really had that big Christmas boom. We've remained pretty consistent throughout the whole year, mainly because we don't market, we don't push ourselves at any point in the year. So we've never really had that like big gin, big whiskey boom towards Christmas. It's pretty consistent, but with what we've got going on with just normal distillery, the new distillery, the financing, the funding, all the other shit, it's going to be so busy, so busy. Yeah, so in a good way, in a positive way, in a challenging way. So excited.
Exciting, really. But again, congratulations, man. It's really exciting to have like. It's weird to. I only came into whiskey a few years ago, and to see somebody that I really admire and want to support.
Thank you.
Get over the line, and now I'm going to get to watch it be built and
yeah, it's cool. Appreciate it.
2024, moving into there. As a community, as an industry, as a kind of sector, what could whiskey be doing a wee bit better?
Interesting. What could whiskey be doing a wee bit better? I've probably got loads of off-air opinions, but what could whiskey be doing a lot better? I think in general, we live in we have such an amazing, diverse industry, amazing liquid. I think 24 is going to be a bit of a challenge for a lot of people. I think there's, prices have accelerated very quickly, and I'm not sure that a lot of the quality meets the prices that are now getting charged. There's a lot of stuff sitting on shelves, so I hope as an industry we look at this and we learn lessons from it. The last thing you want is anybody to be really challenged coming into the year. So, I think don't be afraid to go backwards on your pricing. I think it's been a pretty challenging past few years. People don't have as much money. Whiskey sales are probably not going to be as good as they were and have been. Yeah. So, it's exciting for us. We're having a great time, but I think everyone should just kind of look after each other and look out for each other, because it might get pretty tough. It will get pretty tough.
Somber note, we're not finishing there. We're going to go straight in. Hidden gem dram, like something you finish the day working away. Obviously, your life's whiskey, like everything's whiskey, but to you, what's a wee gem that you enjoy?
Whiskey-wise,
that people maybe
overlook.
They look at it and they overlook, or maybe it's not in trend. I'm not going to suggest what other people have said, but the ones I've said are all known brands, and you're like, oh aye.
Well, I think it's good to, I'm cemented in the old school. Like, I love old bottles, I love old whiskey. It's what we do in the bar, it's what we're into. But for me, one of the best drams I've had over the past couple of years is Decadent 18. I think it's brilliant, good value, £85 a bottle, something like that. So, great value for money, amazing liquid. Obviously, Brendan's not there now, but when Brendan was was there. It was exceptional. So that would be my kind of go-to price to quality ratio. So I still think there's loads of value out there in whiskey. It's just like, there's a lot of stuff that's far too expensive, but there's a lot of great stuff still available for sure. Cool.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good on you guys.
The rest of the show was a bit of a blur, as you can imagine. I had a great Craig Adelphi. I think it was a 36-year-old I tried. It was brilliant. What whiskey, fantastic selection, lovely people, really, really good. Enjoyed having, what was on I had here? I believe I had the Glen Elgin it was in the end. The Chichibu, that's the latest edition, the 2023. It was lovely. Michter's, massive shout out. Teach me how to pronounce Louisville. And the liquid was amazing. And then the Springbank was fantastic and just went really well. Thanks for giving me one of the Dream Drams guys in exchange for a sticker, and it went really well. And this was Pete. Pete helped out behind the camera. Massive shout out to him. Thank you. And that was the show.